How's it going, everyone? This is Haris Kruskic, BR Live's combat sports reporter, and today I'm here with Nyla Rose of All Elite Wrestling. Nyla, how are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Had a good weekend. I'm looking forward to going into week 2 of Fyter Fest. How about week 1, right? Pretty crazy.
Week 1 was pretty nuts. How was your 4th of July weekend?
It was good. Pretty relaxing. Outside of the crazy stead, dealing with some crazy family members. But other than that, pretty good.
That's great. So you mentioned Fyter Fest. Night 1 was amazing. Night 2 is this Wednesday, 8 p.m. on TNT. You will be in action, but we don't know who your opponent is yet. How do you prepare for an opponent who you don't know yet?
Oh, see, that's the thing. Y'all don't know who the opponent is. I do. And it's funny you mentioned how you prepare for it, actually, because that's kind of been the whole thing going into this. After Double or Nothing, after Sheeta, I reluctantly use the term won the title, but, that's the title's current home. Anyways, I've had to kind of reevaluate some things, reassess some things, and there's been a common theme in AEW with the people that are seeing a lot of success. So I'm taking a page out of those books, speaking with a coach, and they have more or less guided me and told me if we don't learn from our past, there's no way we can have a progressive future. So I wanted to take a look at how things kind of transpired last year's Fyter Fest and kind of revisit some of those things. So without giving too much away, that's kind of where my head is at going into night 2.
Any subtle hints at all that you want to share with us on who the opponent is? You mentioned but obviously we are in the dark.
That is right. If you listen carefully to what I just said, there may be a hint or 3 in there. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. You just have to tune in and see on Wednesday.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned, last year's Fyter Fest. You've kind of been in the forefront of the women's division for the better part of a year now. How do you feel like the division has progressed from day 1 since last year's Double or Nothing to today?
I think it's been a steady progression. I'm so proud. My personal biases aside, I am so proud of all the women in AEW. I'm so proud of everything they're doing, all the creativity they're bringing to the forefront. And whenever we get a few guests come through the door, these girls are busting their butts and they're out there trying to show something, trying to prove something. Everybody's hungry, and it's amazing to see such amazing work from so many people. Like, nobody, I feel, has really kind of, for lack of a better expression, gotten lazy with anything. Everybody's out there going full throttle, giving it their all, leaving it all out there in the ring, as we say. I'm so proud of everyone.
Who is one woman at AEW who you haven't faced yet that you want to eventually face?
Oh, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. For personal reasons, Brandy and I, we throw little barbs at each other online. So it'd be nice to pay her back for that stunner she gave me last year. That'd be a little fun, right? Just for my own personal collection, if you will, I would love to go one-on-one with Kong, just to prove to myself, the measuring stick, if you will.
Where is Kong? I feel like we haven't seen her in a while.
Kong is doing Kong things. I don't think it's up to me to say where Kong is or what she's doing. But as we all know, as the world knows, she does have a television show, an awesome television show on Netflix. So I do know she's been working on that. Unfortunately, with everything, the world situation, everybody's projects have kind of hit a few bumps in the road, a few snags. So I'm sure she'll be back once everything is smooth sailing.
For sure. You've been a lifelong wrestling fan. What are some of your wrestling influences growing up?
Everyone. I was a diehard wrestling fan, for sure. Goodness, where do we even start? I guess I would say, like, one of the first people to really, really, really catch my attention would be Roddy Piper. And it really, honestly, I feel so guilty saying this. It had nothing to do with anything he did in the ring. I couldn't tell you any specific match or anything outside of recent memories. But it was really his talking, like his charisma, his personality, like everything about him just totally captivated me as a child. Moving along, then you had DiBiase, and just, again, that personality just was so captivating. It just really sucked you into the television. I would say my next clearest memory would be a Lunger Blaze popping on television. I'm like, who is this tough as nails woman? She really, really sparked something in me. Seeing her and just remembering that feud with Bull Nakano. I remember like I just watched it last week. Like, how crazy is that, right? So they clearly did something right, as they say. They definitely made some memories for me. But yeah, obviously Undertaker, huge Undertaker fan. Everybody's inspired by the Undertaker, right? He is wrestling. Thank you, Taker, if you're watching. Yeah, there's been so many. We could do a whole interview about that, just going into it. Like I said, huge fan all my life. I even still find new inspirations now with some of the current talent.
That's awesome. Where would you say, from, I guess, a year or so since we started having shows at AEW, where would you say you've most improved?
I would like to say, a well-rounded improvement, but that's a little silly. Obviously you want to focus on one thing and things are going to pick up faster than the other. I would say for me, most improved would just be my comfortability in where I am. Just having that body awareness, that mental stability, if you will, that I've got things on lock. I feel much more confident in my boots and much more confident in my position within the company.
Sure. So if anyone follows you on social media, obviously they know that you are a professional wrestler, but you are also quite the video game expert. And it seems like you have...
Oh, expert. Wow.
You have
your checks in the mail. Your checks in the mail. You don't have to...
It just, every time, you tweet something about a game, I'm like, wow, that's kind of like a specific game that you really have to know. Like, you really have to remember. So I'm curious, what's your favorite video game of all time? Or what are a couple of your favorite video games?
Of all time, Tetris probably leads the pack. That's kind of a surprise answer, but I love that game. You can pick it up, you can put it down, it gets your brain juices going. It's a nice mental warm up. Like, it's a crazy game. There's no story, right? But like, Tetris, favorite game ever. Obviously Zelda, if you've seen my tattoos. Again, I love adventures and I love puzzles, and Zelda has always been a great meld of adventure with puzzles. Like, that's kind of its thing. That's its wheelhouse. So I clicked with Zelda right away as a young child, and just throughout the years, I do want to throw my Switch sometimes playing Breath of the Wild currently, but I love it. I love the game. I do. There's so many. There's so many out there. There's too many good ones.
Do you have a personal favorite console?
Personal favorite console? For me, I would probably say the 360. The 360 was such a solid console for me. Current generation, I would probably say PS4. So I'm really looking forward to the next gen.
This December, hopefully. We'll see. But so, back to AEW, we like to throw an occasional one out there to just to keep it interesting.
No, one little zinger. All right, here we go.
So what is your favorite AEW match that you have competed in so far, and then one that you did not compete in?
My favorite one, I mean, anyone's could probably guess what answer I'm about to give, would be that night against Riho in Austin, Texas, when I won the title. For obvious reasons, winning the title, but also just that moment of redemption. Fighting my way back to the top, to the lead of the pack, proving to myself, proving to the world that I'm not a joke. I'm not, a one and done. I'm here to stay, and this is the new regime. So that was a big moment for me. As I incredibly proud. Hope to have another moment like that in the near future. As far as a match that I did not compete in, probably would have to say our recent ladder match, honestly. This seems really exciting. You know, a little tidbit, I don't know if it was really put out there, but yours truly, first tables match in AEW. So, you know, that's one for the record books, right? Being the first ladder match, that's of course another one for the record books. Didn't get the chance to do that, but maybe in the future we'll have a women's ladder match or something. That could be a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Another question for you. I think people are always curious to find out, like you, obviously a complete, beast inside the ring, but you seem very, very nice and thoughtful currently in your interviews. So I think people are always
that's because I had coffee. I had my coffee this morning, so I'm mellow.
I think people are always kind of intrigued at the fact that, people might be a little different outside the ring than they are inside. Are there any instances of people backstage, whether it's, backstage personnel or just other wrestlers, where you're like, you know what, this person's a lot different than they come off?
Oh, goodness. Yeah, a lot of people, actually. Not trying to catch heat with anybody, but yeah, a lot of people that I otherwise would have been a little bit more, on guard with approaching, or like, let me just stay out of their way. Backstage, the biggest softy cuddlers. I'm not going to throw any names out there, but just like total sweethearts.
Is there anyone that you've grown particularly attached to over the past year or so, whether it's a wrestler or backstage personnel?
A few people, actually, a few surprising people. And I'm gonna blow his spot up, actually. Billy Gunn. I've kind of grown attached to him because he's a little mean to me backstage, but I think it's tough love. I think it's tough love is what that is. I'm gonna crack his shell. He's got like such a hard exterior. I'm gonna crack him. That's my personal goal. I'm gonna hug him for the year is out.
What's the best Billy Gunn story you can tell us?
I personally don't have any yet, but he is such a wealth of knowledge. He'll pull me aside every once in a while and kind of like kick me in the pants, as they say, to like get me in line. That he's got love, but it is tough love.
Well, Nyla, I thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Again, Fyter Fest this Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can watch Nyla Rose in action against, who knows?
Someone.
Go back. Maybe there's some things we can decipher in your answer, maybe not. But we'll see. So, Nyla, again, thank you so much for joining us. And again, Fyter Fest, 8 p.m.
Yes,
Eastern.
my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.